Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Henry. For those of you who don't know me, I'm here from the Kent Invictus Chamber of Commerce. Firstly, I'd just like to welcome you all to Business Bites. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Jemima Wilson from Sutton Winson, who is going to be delivering a presentation today on employee retention and how you can enhance this through benefits. So it should be a really engaging session. If you do have any questions at all throughout the session, please make sure to just drop these into the chat. We will then answer these at the end with our own dedicated Q&A session. So I'm now going to pass you over to Jemima. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Henry. Hello, everyone. Thanks for attending today's session. I'm going to run you through quickly on some ways that employee benefits can help you enhance the retention of your staff within your businesses. I lead the healthcare and protection team at Sutton Winson, so we actually build employee benefits packages for a range of companies. So I'm going to focus on a few key benefits within the UK market at the moment. And then, yeah, like Henry says, any questions, let me know and we'll answer those at the end. So I'm just going to start by talking about why employee benefits retention matters and how retaining employees leads to a more, why retaining employees leads to a more experienced workforce and improved company culture. I think if you're anything like our business, I think a lot of businesses around the UK have seen that retaining your key staff and in general staff retention has sometimes been a challenge especially over the last couple of years. It's a really fast-paced market in a lot of industries, and that can actually lead to a number of different challenges when we're trying to recruit and retain staff. As we all know, the costs associated with high turnover rates, recruitment costs, the cost of recruiters nowadays, it can lead to a really, really high cost when we're trying to recruit and retain staff that's within our business and trying to attract key talent into our business. As we say here, the average cost of replacing an employee can be as high as 30,000 in the UK. £30,000 is a big amount to any business, and it also can really affect the continuity of your business with someone being out of your business for a period of time and sometimes having that elongated time where you're trying to recruit a replacement. So making sure that we attract and retain the right people into our business is so key in this day and age, and having an enhanced employee benefits package can sometimes be the key to that. So I'll go on to say what employee benefits are. I'm sure that a lot of you will either have had employee benefits within your business, you may offer something, or you may not have anything at all, no experience of this at all. So employee benefits are perks which are provided by employers to their employees in addition to wages or salaries. I'm going to focus on some of the key benefits today, like I say, which will include private medical insurance, which we most of the time will refer to as PMI, group life insurance, which also can be referred to as death in service, and group income protection. So these benefits can contribute to an overall job satisfaction and loyalty, and I'll run you through a little bit on each of the products and what they do if you've had not any experience of them beforehand, run you through a little bit of what they do and how they can help with that satisfaction of your existing staff and helping you to attract staff into your business. So I'll start with private medical insurance, which will be the key that we focus on. The private medical insurance industry has grown so rapidly over the last 10 years, and I think we've seen a huge focus on this, especially since the pandemic. Unfortunately, since the pandemic, especially, the state of the NHS has declined, and a lot of our staff, when we're trying to have access to treatment, have seen longer waiting times, increased periods of absence because of waiting for the right treatment on the NHS, not being able to have access to mental health services. It has been a huge impact on employee absenteeism across the UK. So it's something that we really need to focus on as businesses to make sure we're supporting staff in their time of need. So employee retention, obviously having employees with quicker access to healthcare services is such a key element in making sure that we're keeping the right staff and supporting them. And if it's not just our staff, it's also sometimes their families who are included on that policy as well, and making sure that they feel supported. The trend of people offering private medical insurance to their employees has increased hugely, and it's also seen something now as quite often an expected benefit within a business when you're looking to recruit the right talent into your team. As we see here, 60% of employees consider health benefits as a key factor in job satisfaction. And I think anybody who has had private medical insurance in their either current job or previous roles will know the value of having the services that it provides to you. What I'll go through is I'll go through some advantages of private medical insurance, and then I'll tell you about a story from one of Bupa's members who was able to access treatment really quickly and how that made a difference to her. The advantages of private medical insurance, like we've discussed, waiting times for treatment have just increased tenfold. And of course, the NHS is a fabulous service and not something that is going to be replaced by private medical insurance. Emergency treatment is something that will always be focused with the NHS and not something that private medical insurance is really designed for. But what really causes those longer absences and something where people really need that assistance from a private medical insurance policy is when you're having something like diagnostic treatment or something where you're looking for a planned treatment where you might be waiting weeks, months, sometimes unfortunately years on the NHS to have access to the correct care. As we see here, private medical insurance reduces the waiting times of treatment, which leads to better health outcomes and employee satisfaction, and offering PMI can see a 25% increase in employee retention. When we say here that PMI helps with reducing employee stress and absenteeism, obviously that's because of the waiting times, etc., but it's also because of the added value services that most private medical insurance companies will include within their packages. So packages are designed for small businesses, which can include additional added value services like digital GP services. I'm sure we've all had a time where we've waited on the phone for a long time for our NHS GP to be able to give us an appointment. And unfortunately, that can cause huge amounts of stress, taking time out of work to try and get to appointments, which aren't at a time which suits you. Also, if you've got worries about symptoms and you don't know where to turn to, I don't know if anyone's tried to use 111 previously. Sometimes those can be extremely long waits and sometimes a bit of a stressful experience. So private medical insurance is not just designed for just treatment, it's also designed for those support services which are included for free within the policies that are designed for small businesses. What I'll do is I'll run you through a case study, as I say, from one of Bupa's members, which is Anna's story, who was able to use something within Bupa, which is their direct access service. So what the insurers will set up is direct access services for certain conditions, which actually can mean that you don't need to go and see a GP. You'll contact Bupa or whoever the insurer is directly, say, I've got this symptom, I'm worried it could be something like cancer, and they can arrange an appointment for you. So for Anna, she was one of those people that did what we all did, found a symptom, Googled it, and panicked, which I think if you're anything like me, we've all done it and thought Dr. Google might be the best option for us, and it sometimes makes us feel so much worse. So she knew she needed to speak to a health professional, but she was one of the people that struggled to book an appointment with her GP. So unfortunately, rather than waiting to see her GP, she decided that she remembered, got Bupa insurance, what can I do here? So she called Bupa insurance, which she got through to their direct access service. And I think, as we all know, things like cancers, when they are found and treated early, they're more likely to be cured and less treatments required. So they acted really quickly. So when she called, she gave her symptoms, she was assessed over the phone, and they use their access to national clinical guidance. And due to the nature of her symptoms, she had a referral to a consultant there and then with advice, and the appointment that was scheduled within the next 5 days, that made sure that she had sort of peace of mind, and it helped her with that worrying weight. After the examination, she had a consultation with a specialist, a mammogram, an ultrasound, and a biopsy, which was all actually done within 1 day, all under the same roof, which I don't know if any of you have experienced any treatment via the NHS. Sometimes when you have to have multiple different tests, you're then ending up having multiple different appointments, which can take, again, weeks or months to complete before you're ending up getting that confirmed diagnosis. Now, unfortunately, Anna was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer, but because she got the answers more quickly, it meant that she then ended up having her treatment done within 4 weeks. Her surgery was done and she was at home recovering, and luckily she made a full recovery. So I think it's something just to remember that's quite key when you've got staff within your business, something that unfortunately with someone like Anna, if she'd waited for her NHS GP, she may not have got an appointment as quickly. She then may have waited to have her appointment on the NHS, and would have ended up having a much more elongated process before she was able to have surgical treatment. So really lucky for her that she had the medical insurance in place. So I'm going to move on to group life insurance, which is another key benefit within the UK market. Like I said earlier, it's sometimes referred to as death in service. And what group life insurance does is it will pay out a lump sum or a multiple of salary if an employee unfortunately passes away while they're employed and covered under the policy. So group life insurance is really key in retention of your staff, because it's actually something that most businesses will offer. I'm sure it's something that we would all either have or have had in the past. And it's something that people really value, because it's not always ourselves we think of first, but it's the security of our families in a time of need that can really be a key driver in knowing that we've got a security blanket, which can be really, really helpful, and something that we do value as employees. So like it says here, group life insurance provides financial security to the employees' families. When you have a lump sum paid out from this policy, if the employees unfortunately passed away, they will nominate a beneficiary or multiple beneficiaries for the benefit to be paid to in the event of their death. So it's something that is really, really valued as a benefit in case, I think there's a lot of people that have had horrible, unfortunate situations. We've heard of these stories where people have had a loved one pass away and they've not been able to pay their mortgage or afford funeral costs. So there's something that is really, really key, which can provide that initial lump sum payment, which is so key in the event of someone's death, and really helps out so many families across the UK. Like we've said here, 70% of employees feel more secure knowing their families are protected. And again, group life insurance is one of the policies in the UK market, the same as group income protection, which I'm going to move on to next, which also has a number of added value services that are included within the cost of the policy. They're not an additional premium. Now, a lot of the policies will include something called an employee assistance program, which I think we might have all heard of, we may never have used ourselves, but employee assistance programs can provide mental health support, financial, legal guidance. So they're free of charge, and it's usually a telephone number or a video service where employees can get support in time of need. They also may include things like online dental services, and they may also include online GP services as well themselves. So it's something to really consider as a very actually cost-effective benefit, group life insurance in most cases, that can provide a huge amount of benefit and security for our staff. So it's something to really consider if it's not something that you have considered in the past for your staff. I'll move on to group income protection next, which again is something that we've seen a huge trend and a huge increase in the amount of people that are considering group income protection who previously may not have done. There are some people who may have actually focused more on other benefits in the past, but are now looking more so on group income protection to really give that peace of mind to their staff in the event of an extended absence. So group income protection does kind of what it says on the tin there. It will provide protection of someone's income if they're going to be on an extended absence. So it usually kick in after a deferred period, which is usually anything past 13 weeks of absence. Somebody's going to be off for an extended period of time. The group income protection cover will then pay a percentage of their salary to the company, which the company will then forward on to either the employee, or you can use it for your own cost to maybe employ a, say, temporary member of staff. Most companies use it to pass on to the employee, so the employee has a percentage of their salary paid until they are able to return to work, either full-time, or they can pay a percentage still if they're able to come back on a phased return. So the group income protection, again, is something that's so valued because I think a lot of people in the UK and across the world would find a real struggle. I think there's some statistics out there, but I think anyone in this day and age, um, if they were out of work for 13 weeks or longer and weren't able to receive any pay or maybe statutory sick pay, would be in a very sticky situation and find it very difficult to maintain their overheads. So like we can see here, companies with group income protection can see a 30% reduction in long-term absenteeism. That is through support, often through the rehabilitation services provided by the insurance companies. So what happens when somebody is on a group income protection policy and they are absent, unfortunately, the insurers have a rehabilitation team who can step in and help that employee. So they can actually help manage the absence for you. They take a lot of stress away from the company and help with that employee. They might be able to offer certain treatment options, advice, which can help that employee return to work much more quickly than they would have done without the policy being in place. So that's a huge one for helping employees reduce their financial stress and again, enhancing their well-being. Again, like I said previously, income protection also includes things like employee assistance programs and often these advice services which have digital GPs, etc. included. So it's something that I would advise either combination of all three of these products or at least one or two to build a really comprehensive benefits package for your staff. It's something that's expected nowadays within most industries, and something that can really see a successful business flourish from having the right people within your company who feel that they're supported. So it's something that I would stress to anybody who is considering, who may not have employee benefits in place. Start with these products and then think about potentially moving on to other benefits that are available within the UK market. Like I say, we focused on these three benefits here today, just because we don't have all the time in the world, but there's so many things out there that can help with your staff retention. There's cash plans, there's employee assistance programs in their own right. There's things like menopause plans nowadays that the insurers offer, which can help with people within your business that you haven't really thought of and you're not sure where to refer to. So I think it's something that if you haven't, as I say, thought about in the past, I would definitely advise something that you do consider. And having a good broker in place to help you build that package and maintain it and give you the right advice can be key. So I'll wrap up there. Just thank you so much for listening. I'm not sure if anyone's popped any questions in the chat box at all. So I do forgive me if you have. But I apologise because I am now trying to not share my screen. and I'm not quite sure what
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure what I was doing there with sharing the screen, so apologies, I'll stop there.
there we
So
go.
thank you so much for everyone for listening, and I'm not sure if anyone's got any questions as I haven't seen the chat box.
We haven't had any put there, but if you do have any questions, now's your time to unmute and ask away. Phil, Hannah, Valentina, either of you three have any questions at all?
Hello, no questions. Just wanted to say really informative. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks so much, Phil. That's really kind.
Thanks, Phil. Suppose I actually have a quick one. If people want a bit more information on sort of planning different types of packages that they can give their employees, how's the best way about going and getting that information?
I Yeah, like I say, I think having a broker that specializes in employee benefits, or a team within them that specialize in employee benefits can be a really good place to start, because a lot of people don't know where to start with what package to build for their employees, what to focus on, what works for them. And I think having somebody who knows your business, understands the industry that you work in, and understands what can help with the start. I mean, again, it might be something that you've had long-term absenteeism in the past and you found it a real struggle to handle that. You've had a death within the business, and that's something that you've unfortunately had to handle yourself. And I think having a broker who can really focus on what would make the biggest difference for you can be the best place to start, definitely.
Perfect, fantastic. Well, I've just seen in the chat, Valentina and Hannah have both put that they don't have any questions either. So we're going to wrap this session up nice and early for you all, so you can all go and get onto your lunch breaks now. Firstly, I'd just like to thank all of you who came along today. We did have another come along, but had to drop out a little bit earlier, Jemima, just to let you know.
Right.
Secondly, massive thank you to Jemima for giving this session. I've been Henry at the Kent and Vix's Chamber of Commerce. Thank you ever so much for coming, and have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.